In this video, I'm going to take you through the 12 foundational mistakes that keep a lot of early stage B2C founders struggling to get customers. I call them the 12 common pitfalls. Over the next few weeks, I'll walk through all 12 pitfalls one by one in detail, including how to fix them. Today, I'll give you the high-level view of each one so you can see if you're committing any of them in your business. Now, these aren't surface-level marketing tweaks. These are the first architectural hurdles you must clear if you want strangers to care about your business enough to buy from you. Before you start executing in market, running ads, spending money on marketing, creating content on social media, and hustling for meetings with distributors, it's critical that you fix these 12 errors if any of them are coming up in your business. My name is Sasha Klimov, and I'm the founder and chief strategist of Bright and Early. I use my 17 years of marketing experience to help early stage B2C founders avoid launching into silence and stop guessing what to fix. And we do that by helping founders install a customer demand system that helps them get customers predictably and consistently. We do this via two stages: architecture, then execution. The architecture phase is about building a strong foundation by fixing common and often intuitive errors founders make because they lack a marketing system to follow. Let's go through the 12 most common pitfalls one by one that we see coming up for most founders. Pitfall number one is avatar sprawl. This is when a founder tries to target multiple audiences and solve multiple problems at once before earning traction with one narrow niche. It leads to diluted clarity, weak signals of expertise, and the worst outcome of all, customer apathy, because nobody can tell who it's for, what it solves, or why you are the right answer. What you should do instead is choose one narrow audience with one urgent problem and build all your messaging and all your product decisions around that single center of gravity. Pitfall number two is ignoring context. This is when the positioning is built from the inside out, based on what the founder wants to say or on product features. Rather than first reviewing what the customer already believes, dreams, and desires, what is happening in culture and the world at large right now, what the category trends and innovations are, and how competitors are positioning themselves psychologically. When you skip this, you lack relevance. Your messaging becomes interchangeable and you blend into the category. Demand stays muted even if the product itself is strong. What you should do instead is study the 4 C's. Look at customer, culture, category, and competition, and deliberately position yourself within that context. Pitfall number 3 is incorrect framing. This is when the business never takes a clear stand, never defines what it is for and what it is against, and never translates vision and mission into real positioning in the mind of the consumer. Then the positioning becomes a description of the product features or the service deliverables instead of a transformation. So there is no dream outcome, no clear before and after, and no reason for the customer to act now rather than later. What you should do instead is define what you stand for and against, and then craft a transformational offer with a clear dream outcome, strong perceived likelihood of success, and reduced friction. Pitfall number 4 is there's no narrative tension. This is when brands tell a story that is centered on themselves, their process, their history, their features, and their uniqueness. And they don't realize that the customer should be the hero of the story, not them or their business. As a result, there's often no enemy, no struggle, no stakes, no momentum, and so the message lands flat for the audience, because we all need stories to connect to. The fix is learning to build a simple story arc where the customer's problem is real, the cost of staying stuck is clear, and the brand plays the guide who helps them win. Pitfall number 5 is being a zombie brand. This is when founders copy the category default. They borrow the same tone, the same visual cues, the same brand language, and the same safe personality signals that everyone else is using. Think about all the millennial aesthetic brands that launched around 2020 in the wellness space, for example. Or every generic corporate B2B business promising transparency and trust. using blue tones and stock photography of people shaking their hands across a conference table across all their marketing. They think they're being professional, but what they actually are doing is removing every reason someone should remember them. If your positioning is meant to be distinct, your personality must carry that same point of view, and it must show up consistently through all your external cues, the way you sound, the way you look, and the way you behave as a brand. What you should do instead is define a clear personality aligned with your positioning and express it consistently and uniquely through tone, visuals, and how you behave. Pitfall number 6 is poor naming. This is when a founder treats naming as just a quick task or a personal preference exercise and ends up with something either generic, hard to say, hard to spell, or disconnected from their positioning. Your business name is your first impression, the first impression you make with your potential customer. It is a shorthand for a greater meaning, so it should be driven by strategy and personality, and it should be chosen through a structured process that tests memorability, fit, and distinctiveness, as well as clarity and range. What you should do instead is generate options intentionally, write a long list, and then whittle it down to a short list by evaluating against a strategic scorecard, a set of criteria before committing. Pitfall number 7 is treating visuals as pure decoration. This is when founders treat brand identity as a nice to have or as a layer to add later, so they simply choose graphics and colors at random. They don't realize that people form decisions way before they read your messaging. Visuals are not just aesthetics, they're psychological signals. Color, typography, layout, graphics, and images shape what your audience feels and what they assume about quality, trust, and relevance to them. If that first impression is weak, people will never give your words a chance. What you should do instead is design your visual identity around the emotions and behavior you want to trigger in your audience, which requires defining that very carefully first, and then working with an expert designer to execute it. Pitfall number 8 is using internal messaging. This is when businesses speak in industry jargon, founder language, or abstract concepts that customers don't use themselves. So even if the idea is good, the message simply doesn't land. The fix is using customer language, and you do that by speaking to them and then reflecting those words back to them. The fastest way to earn attention is to make someone feel understood and heard. And the easiest way to do that is use words that they already use every day. What you should do instead is capture real customer language through interviews and use their exact phrases in your messaging. Pitfall number 9 is lacking a marketing funnel. This is when founders treat go-to-market like a single moment or a series of scattered events. They launch a post, they put up a website, they run a few ads, and they hope, instead of creating a gradual narrowing of the audience and message over time. Like moving from a wide dating pool towards a committed relationship. You need a path that captures warm prospects, nurtures trust, and educates them through consistent exposures to your brand and business, and repeats the promise across multiple touch points. You create a path to the next step, which is obvious. Without that, you're forcing cold strangers to make a big decision with no relationship, and most will not act. What you should do instead is design a structured funnel that moves people intentionally from awareness to trust to conversion. Pitfall number 10 is spreading too thin on your website. This is when the website tries to do everything, say everything, serve every curiosity, list every feature, and offer too many paths to action at once. This creates audience confusion, and if they have to think too hard, they'll leave. Strong conversion is clarity, it's reinforcement of what they came for, and a seamless guided path to a single action with minimal distraction. What you should do instead is simplify your site around one core promise and guide visitors clearly towards that one primary action that you really want them to take. Pitfall number 11 is lacking a content strategy for social media. This shows up in two ways. Either founders avoid social media entirely, or they post inconsistently and randomly without a structure, without a point of view, and without a system that they can actually maintain. Social content matters because it is where trust is built at scale. It's where you demonstrate beliefs, solve problems, inspire and educate about your solutions, and build authority and connection over time with your audience. It is where they look first when determining if you're legitimate. The fix is building a strategy that you can actually sustain and then handing execution to a team or a manager so the business shows up consistently and compounds over time. Pitfall number 12 is chaotic experimentation. This is where founders run a lot of random tests, change messaging on a whim, make decisions based on emotion. Often they spend a lot of money without a learning plan, and they call it iteration. When early customers aren't coming and the pressure mounts, this is natural. But what really becomes is expensive noise, one from which it's hard to extrapolate the real data of what is working and what is not. The fix is building a launch and go-to-market plan based on everything that came before it. It's choosing one or two channels that the audience already uses when they're trying to solve this problem, then running phased tests that isolate variables, capture signal, and use feedback loops to tighten the offer and the message over time. It's using the marketing funnel that we designed before and putting it into market. What you should do instead is develop a structured go-to-market roadmap with clear hypotheses, a few focused channels, and sequential tests that build on each other. Those are the 12 common pitfalls. If you take a step back, you can see the pattern. These pitfalls are not execution problems, they are architecture problems. They need to be fixed before you spend on ads, before you hire a team, and before you push content every day. And before you hustle and execute by reaching out to a lot of distributors, because once you start executing, the real costs of money and time and effort magnify these errors. They are so often the invisible reasons a good product can still land with silence. Because the audience was unclear, the message lacked contrast, the story had no stakes, or because the brand just blended in, and the offer didn't create a transformation, and the visuals did not build trust. It might be because the go-to-market plan was either missing or chaotic. In our next set of videos, I'm going to take you through each pitfall one by one. I'll break down what it looks like in real businesses, why it happens, the specific consequences, and the exact detailed fix for each one. This is the same customer demand system that we use with our founder clients. One where we help them diagnose what is keeping their business stuck and build a foundation before they waste time and money pushing harder and harder in the wrong direction. Now hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.